back to the Laurence McKenna channel. Good to have you guys. Remember, it is still a secret, so if you are going to share it privately, but make sure it's someone that you really care about so that you are actually sharing it with a community of people we want to have around. We've just made 15K, and I thank you guys so much for that. It's fantastic. It's a 15K secret. Road to 20K? Is that what we do now? Do we road to 25? Road to 100? I don't know how it works. Let me know in the comments. Road to top 4 would be what Arsenal are talking about right now. And there's something incredibly satisfying about talking about this Arteta side and this young, dynamic, hungry, pressing team who have just been pretty much unchallenged by that Leicester side. I get it was a 2-0 result. We'll talk about that in a second. That was where I felt they were before. I felt they were level with Leicester. And they're going into a week where they want to be level with Liverpool. And in my head, this is a great yardstick. We saw the yardstick of Leicester. I get that they rested people, but we still saw the yardstick of Leicester. We're about to see the yardstick of Liverpool. And Arteta himself, even post-game, said along the lines of, we need to raise our game. We need to believe that we can win against them. It's not been a great run of games for Arsenal recently against Liverpool. A lot of wins on Liverpool's side, obviously in the Carabao Cup, obviously in the Premier League. But I have seen shoots of things where you think that tactic's going to be going in the right direction. This intensity, this belief, this sense that Arsenal are building something here and that these games are experience which these people will build on in the future rather than the demoralizing, oh, we're not good enough yet. It's quite different to the way that they felt before when there was that malaise around the club of what is real progress here? Because there were always games where there was sort of, oh, you see, that was progress. Xhaka actually played well. No, Partey is good. No this, no that. I got that sense today. And the only way I can describe it is this wholesome idea of, remember when parents, maybe your own parents have done it very recently, put your head next to the back of the door and put a book on top and you draw with a pencil? It's to mark that you're making progress, that you're growing. I feel like that feels so tangible at Arsenal right now. There's something where there's a sentimentality about this growth of, we genuinely feel like there's something special here. And you get the feeling that the players feel the same. There was a press and move, press and move, press and move. And then they let Leicester come forward a little, press, and it's straight back. And then there's that dynamic 3 that the ball just gets distributed to, sitting in front of Partey and Xhaka. You've got Saka. In the middle, you've got Odegaard, and you've got Martinelli on the far side. And there's something about that combination of those 5 that just plays off Lacazette up there that seems so well drilled. And it's the fact that they have had the time to be able to drill themselves. I get it. 1 game every week, possibly 2 if you're in the cup. It's going to get a little thicker now, but you still get the point. These guys have got the Premier League to focus on. And Arteta has drilled and drilled and drilled. And it's similar to when Jurgen Klopp first came in at Liverpool. There were elements of, I can see what's going well there. And you see the same when other new managers come in. You saw the same when Conte went in at Spurs. I know Arsenal fans might not want to hear it, but it's kind of true. You see a difference in these ideas, but it takes a while to bed those in. Klopp calls it playing with your stomach, but I think he means like playing instinctively, from the back of your head, playing and not needing to think all the time, not needing to go, what was it that I was supposed to do in this situation? But just your body knowing that when you have to do this, then you do this. When that guy does that, you do that. You can see it. And not only that, but I'm reluctant to make this comparison, but in my last video, I spoke about Arsene Wenger being up on the wall at the training ground, a quote next to it. They're not hiding from that anymore. They're not trying to move on from Arsene Wenger. They're trying to build on from Arsene Wenger because that was exactly what the club was meant to do. Feels very similar to the LA Rams in the same way as your owner is built over there. There is a young, dynamic coach over here who's bringing people through and is being given the time to do so and has been given the belief to do so. So when you see Aubameyang go, you see him do well somewhere else and you think, a lot of people go, well, if he just scored 1 goal and that got them into the top 4, well, he wouldn't need to score 1 goal in one of those 3 games that they now have in hand over Manchester United. They're sitting in 4th comfortably at this point. I get that some of those games in hand are difficult games. But the point is they're still above them even without those games in hand. That's the 1 point difference. So are we talking about this 1 goal difference that Aubameyang might have made? Let's talk about the actual idea, the reality at Arsenal right now, that they're ahead of where we thought they would be in terms of their timeline. Sometimes that's not a good thing. But sometimes it is satisfying to watch Aubameyang leave, and that essentially proves that yes, he was a good player, but it strengthens Arteta's argument that we can get rid of good players and we can still be a good unit. shows those guys, this guy's good. Imagine why I'm getting rid of him then. Imagine my faith in you if you think he's so good. Imagine how satisfying that is for a young player to see as part of the youngest squad in the Premier League. So when you're watching all these combinations, and I'll go back to this Arsene Wenger point, you're seeing a similar idea to the idea from when Wenger was part of that club. That these guys are having fun with patterns, that they're building little, they know exactly where someone else is out there. There was a goal, there was a chance tonight where they passed it from the left side of the 18-yard box into the middle, and you thought, shoot. He didn't shoot. He had this weird, scuff it off towards the fullback. Who does that? Only a team that's really thinking about their patterns knows where someone else is and knows that it's not a wasted pass to go wide, that there is the inevitability of a goal there because it's press and move, press and move, press and move. The dynamism of Odegaard, Saka here, Martinelli there. There is something special about Martinelli. It's great to watch Odegaard just be so dynamic. We've got these two holding guys just behind him, really solid. Partey and Xhaka have somewhat made a bit of a partnership there that Odegaard can just build in front of. He can float around, he can go in all these different positions. You've got Saka just slaloming through the opposition. And then on the other side, you've got that real quality of Martinelli. It's fun to watch him combine with Tierney sometimes. But it's also fun just to watch him go on these little runs. And honestly, he gives me that same feeling that you get when you used to watch a continental youth player and be like, how do we get that in the Premier League? How do we get that? The kind of player that makes me jealous. And it's not often that Liverpool fans say that right now, because look at who's in that position. But he is good, and he's very fun to watch. And I like that. I like that I'm enjoying watching Arsenal again. Now, granted, this Leicester team, they weren't particularly good, and I get that. They were under strength. They were very, very pliable. But when Partey scored that opening goal so early, you thought, okay, there's something going on here. And then later when they got that other opportunity with Lacazette, you thought, yeah, he's going to score that. He did. It was impressive to that degree that they held their nerve for such a long time, because in the past, when people were attacking Arsenal, there was a nervousness that we've seen. And that nervousness used to transfer to the crowd. It would go from there. And suddenly it would feel like a more toxic environment than you ever thought it should be at Arsenal. There is a sense, similar to when other managers come in at other clubs, that they've realised again what the level is. They've realised where the position is that these guys are. And there is a sense of calm, that they are building something. That there isn't a loss anymore of, right, we need to shed this identity, get rid of that. Aubameyang needs to leave soon. Who's going to be here? Who's going to do that? I like that calmness. I like that, we can do this kind of attitude. Whether I like it when Liverpool play them on Wednesday is a whole other thing, by the way. Don't expect me to be kind if we do lose to them. Liverpool go there as heavy favourites, but that doesn't mean that Arsenal aren't in with a big chance. Arsenal are one of the up-and-coming teams in the moment in the Premier League, and you think it would reinforce them massively to get into the Champions League, because if they do, it's validation, helps you attract people, and frankly, with the weakness of other sides in London at the moment, it's time to capitalise. So, if Arteta's patience is about to pay off, and Arsenal fans' patience is about to pay off, and believe me, there were some patient Arsenal fans. Not all of them made it on screen, but there were some. Here's your pay. Here's your payout. You guys get it now. Let me know what you think in the comments below, who your man of the match was. I'm still really enjoying all these wingers. The substitutes were crazy because they were all kind of great in attacking style. Really still enjoying Ketia. I didn't even get a chance to talk about some of the great tackles, by the way, that centre-back pairing put in. Those guys are a top 4 centre-back pairing if ever I saw one. Yeah, I'll admit it. I did think that Ben White wasn't at that level, but I was wrong. Damn, it's worrying. Wednesday's going to be a fun game, though. These guys can still have an influence on the top 4. And then on the title. 3 games in hand, 1 point ahead of Manchester United. There's something very satisfying about that for Arsenal fans. Probably a lot of other fan bases too. It's not about short-term fixes, this is long-term gains. See you guys tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.